This was a hearing on childcare policy since COVID. Senator John Kennedy, a Republican, asks here a panel of experts on this front how to pay for expanded childcare for parents. Now, people will remember that during COVID, the child tax credit was expanded, and that meant that monthly payments went out to parents to help alleviate, and the payments were increased as opposed to it being a tax credit at the end of the year. We expanded it and we alleviated child poverty by something like 40% during that time period. And now that Joe Manchin, in his efforts, and the entire Republican Party along with him, have eliminated the child tax credit, child poverty has gone up significantly. So these are the kinds of things that government could easily solve but choose not to. And Kennedy is not in favor of those kinds of government programs. But this is him talking to or questioning economist Kathryn Anne Edwards, who makes a very reasonable and obvious point that Republicans and conservatives are not ever going to accept. I want to say
this point is so on the nose that I wish I'd thought of it myself. Like it's, I mean, she summarizes things we all know, but in a very concise framing.
Right now, I think it's paid for to try to cap the cost of insulin for everybody, including the uninsured, at $35. But, you reach the point where you say, we can't do everything. So the fair question is, where's the money going to come from, Doc?
The majority of federal revenue comes from taxes, so if you need more money, you'll have to raise taxes. I'll remind you, sir, that we have had 2 massive trillion-dollar tax cuts in the past 20 years, and they have done nothing to make childcare more affordable. They have done nothing to help the casualty and property insurance that you were talking about today. They have not been invested in children, and we have not seen that return. I mean, the 2001 tax cuts have now had 22 years to prove that they could solve the social issues that you and your fellow senators say that are a priority, and I don't think we could point to evidence to say that they have worked. I would love for you to give child care 20 years. I would love for you to say, let's take 2 decades of runway, invest it in young children, and see what kind of return that I could get. But we've never given children or the child care sector as much runway as we've given taxes. And I'll remind you that the estate tax exemption right now is $13 million.
Well, let me say thank you for the honest answer. Raise taxes.
Does he say more? Play it. I want to hear more. I literally want to see him attempt to get out of this.
In another venue, perhaps, or another time, we can debate what that tax reform did for the economy. But I've got another subcommittee hearing, so I'm going to turn it back over.
I mean, that's incredible. He could only get out of it by doing the folksy thing.
It's like the Looney Tunes running away sound effect.
Yeah.
Of like Wile E. Coyote trying to get going.
Yeah, exactly.
He literally turned tail. Like he was like, "Nope, I'm not even gonna get into this."
I mean, I'm picturing the figurative cloud of dust behind Kennedy there. That is completely, that's kind of the point that I was trying to make earlier. Yeah. It's 100% true. I think she also misspoke there. It was billion, not million.
I wasn't sure. I think she was right, and the person that corrected her was wrong. I think it is million.
Okay.
So which is, still, like, I could lower that exemption even lower. Or I don't know how that exemption works, actually. But anyway, great framing. And I mean, so I think smart to, say, what's the social good we've got out of those tax cuts now?
Yeah.
Like, we've been letting you fat cats eat for 20 years now, and all we have is this society to answer for it. This kind of poverty, this sort of want, and this kind of, gilded decadence at the top. Like, that's it.
And it's also just so indicative of a lot of what we say about the danger of Republicans getting in power, because it's so easy to tear down. It's so easy to tear down the tax code in favor of the wealthy, because every economic, big fat cat, to use your word there, every capitalist, every billionaire is going to be in favor of that. And you're going to get enough Democrats, unfortunately, based on the modern construction of the Democratic Party, to at least like be sympathetic to some of those claims. And the Republicans were very successful in tearing down the tax code in favor of the wealthy, and they did it multiple times. They did it with the Bush tax cuts, and they did it with the Trump tax cuts too. And we still have not had a robust counteraction to create a more equitable tax code and fund programs like universal childcare, because the amount of opposition to that kind of thing it's always going to be enormous, and so maintaining is so much better than allowing these wreckers to get in power, because then the status quo becomes what they've implemented.
Yeah. IRS bumps up estate tax exclusion to $12.92 million for 2023, which means that individuals can transfer up to almost $13 million to their heirs during life or death without triggering a federal estate tax bill. So none of that's taxed, just a free $13 million. There you go, kids. Go give it to the Daily Wire or something.